Good afternoon, Bill here. Today I wanted to talk about this box that I found at an estate sale. I go to this estate sale periodically. It's one of these estate sales that's held into a warehouse where they actually bring people's items from their houses into this warehouse rather than to actually have to go to the actual address of the house itself. So anyway, I was there looking around, and on a counter I saw this box that caught my interest. I don't know if you can see the label, but on the label it was sent to Cinephomic Music Company Limited in London, and it was from a Mills Music Inc. In New York City is where it was from, and so that caught my interest. So I thought, well, maybe if I open it up, maybe there'll be some records in there. Now I collect 78 RPM records, so I was hoping when I opened this up, that's what I would find. So when I opened up this box, indeed I did find some 78 RPM records, and they were looked like they were home recordings. So I lifted up the first one, and they look like these home recordings that you can at that time you could record your records straight from home. It was in pretty good shape, for the time period. So I looked at those. I like home recordings because they're one of a kind and there's some interesting stuff on them. So I looked at this label. It was kind of an interesting label from Metro World Laboratories, Hollywood Boulevard, Hollywood. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. So I started looking through the box, and I found several of these home recordings, or what appeared to be home recordings, and they seem to have repeated the title on some of them. Swamp Song was on a couple of them, and then Must This Be the End is on one of them. Theme of Love is another one, and Gypsy Moon, Theme of Love again, and Fill Up Your Glasses, and Oh Doctor, and Must This Be the End again. So I looked at these. I think there's about 5 of them, and I thought, well, these would be kind of cool to have. So I started rummaging back through this box here at the time, and there was several records in here that to me weren't worth anything. They had no value. They didn't seem to be rare, and they were in bad shape. This one was Dixieland Shuffle by Benny Bergon. I had never heard of that, but Brunswick, that particular one didn't look impressive to me. Here was this blue wax record. I thought, oh, that'd be kind of cool to have. Then I seen that it was damaged as well. It had been through the mill. And this one was Texas Tea Party by Benny Goodman and Dr. Heckle and Mr. Jive. That I thought maybe I might grab that one as well. And then there was another home recording that was in bad shape. So I looked at that, put it back in. Here's Bugle Call Rag by Benny Goodman. It was cracked. It was damaged really bad. So I put that back into the box, thinking that, through the years, maybe somebody put a bunch of records together into a box along with their home recordings and decided that they were going to just keep these in the box for storage. I saw this red one here. That looked thrashed on one side, and the other one, you couldn't tell what it was because the label didn't have anything on it. And then there was this one, this March on Roosevelt, which, at first I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. That might be worth something. But then I seen how badly damaged it was. This poor thing looked like something landed hard on it. Anyway, it's called March On with Roosevelt. It was written by a guy named Gene Dabney, and it was produced by Harry Jackson, National Recordings. Even though it looked like it might be something, because of the damage, I don't collect damaged records, so I put it back. Along with these other records that didn't mean a whole lot to me at the time. They wanted $8 for the entire box, but I don't like purchasing damaged records, so I shined these all on, and I took these up there, and I paid, I think, 50 cents or a buck each for them, which there's 5 of them, so it was either $2.50 or $5. if you look at the labels, you know, some of them have some cute drawings on there of a woman with some notes on there, and with love, May. Uh, this this one here has champagne glass with a girl, and there's a lovely Elsie. Now the word Elsie comes up a couple of times. Here's another girl's picture. It says rare Elsie on the label. Um, so, and then this one, sweet Elsie. So I guess it was somebody that knew this person who did the home recordings. I was thinking maybe they're the ones who made the recordings at first. But when I got them home, I started listening to them. They sounded very, very good. And then I started looking a little bit closer at this swamp song, and this name that kept repeating on these home recordings was Gene Dabney. And then it would be Gene Dabney with Sonny Clay, or Gene Dabney with Gardner Schwartz, and it's like, well, okay, I don't know who those people are, but all right, there must be something to learn here. A swamp song by Gene Dabney, and then Theme of Love, Gene Dabney and Holmberg, and Gypsy Moon by Dabney and Gardner and Schwartz, and then this one, Dabney and Gardner and Clay, and then Dabney and Holmberg, and then again it's Dabney and Jock Goodman, or Jack Goodman. So the backgrounds was interesting, and I didn't know what they meant at the time, but I started doing some research on this Gene Dabney, and I learned very little bit about this guy. You know, it looked like in the 1940s to 42, right before the war, he must have recorded this with these people in the background. So he seemed to disappear after 1942. So I started researching some of these other people, and I noticed that these are some pretty popular people, and pretty popular records are these other records that I had seen in that box. All of a sudden I remember seeing some of those names on those records, and it dawned on me, oh my God, I just separated this box that may have been meant to be together. So I started worrying a lot about just that alone, and so I decided that the very next month I was going to go back to see if I could find this box again and reunite these records with the other records. In the meantime, I was studying some of these people, and I noticed that Clay ended up being Sonny Clay. In the background of some of these piano things, I could hear Sonny Clay playing the piano. Now, Sonny Clay, after he came back from Australia, kind of got sick, and kind of separated from his group, Sonny Clay and the Plantation Orchestra, I think it was called. Anyway, they ended up separating, and he got sick, and he kind of disappeared from everywhere. And then all of a sudden, I see him playing background piano with this Dabney guy. But I thought that was kind of cool. And then all of a sudden, I would hear these big bands playing in the background for some of these, and he was playing in different types. It was big band, country, different types of things he would be playing these songs in. So it dawned on me, these must be audition records, which is really cool. And it looked like that he was recording these somewhere in LA at one of these nightclubs that were playing big band during that time period. So that was kind of cool too. So it dawned on me that these were meant to be together with this box. So the following month I went back to the state sale. Luckily it was still there for $8, and I went ahead and purchased all the remaining records, and paid the $8 for the box. I brought these records home. In the meantime, I had purchased a couple Sonny Clay records. One of them was less than 10 of them in existence. But this guy was really out there trying to sell this Swamp Song and these other songs, and then something happened to him right around the wartime. Maybe he died in the war, or maybe he went back, I don't know, he went to London. Something happened where he just disappeared. And that Roosevelt thing, it looked like he actually published the Roosevelt thing. He had copyright songs with Clay and Gardner and all these other big guys. So he almost made it. He almost made it. Anyway, this was the greatest find that I think I've ever had because it had such a wonderful story behind it. And I learned so much about this Dabney that never made it. But his songs and his music, it's actually beautiful. And you got to hear some really nice big band during that time period with Louis Armstrong and all these things in some of these nightclubs. So you got to hear these big bands recorded off of a home recording, and they all sound pretty good. Anyway, nice find. I thought I'd share it with you. Thanks for letting me share. Bye.